A few weeks ago, I tried to replicate the invisible painting that I've seen people do on TikTok. But in this video, I'm gonna take it to the next level and to another continent, all the way over in Scotland. Last time I tried this illusion, I really over-engineered the whole thing using big cameras, multiple tripods, laser cut stands, all in order to try and mimic what these TikTok artists were pulling off so seemingly effortlessly. And in fact, it only occurred to me after releasing that video that those illusions on TikTok probably weren't filmed using expensive camera equipment and lenses and monitors and stands. They were probably all filmed using their phones. So this time I only have one camera and one tripod and, of course, my phone. The one decent tripod I brought with me will be the stand for my illusion painting activity, where I've jury-rigged a phone mount onto the tripod stand and I'm using the extended arm of the tripod with an attachment and some double-sided tape to mount my canvases for my illusions. Let's see if this much simpler and rougher setup works any better than last time. Now, in the previous attempt at this, the weather was the biggest challenge when the sky changed or the clouds moved, but I have gloriously overcast Scotland sky to my advantage today, which is why I'm definitely wanting to start outside. Now, we're kicking off here at Kinnettles Mansion in Scotland. This building has history and stories all throughout it, but the most charming one that I've found and the place I want to start is actually a stone's throw out into the front yard, where within a little wooded glade lies a small headstone for a buried loved one, Sandy, the dog, who was given a place of pride in the front yard. And you'll also note the dog is 10 years old, so you know, Sandy lived a good life and was definitely spoiled if he or she earned their own gravestone. So I wanted to set up my first painting to use the illusion to my advantage and take us back to when Sandy frolicked in this garden. And getting started painting my illusion, this seems to be all going a lot smoother than last time, and I was finding myself really getting into the flow of oil painting again. I can already tell this is going to be way more fun than the last time I attempted this, but there are definitely some challenges I'm going to need to fine tune. First of all, you'll probably notice there's a few wobbles when I paint on this one, so I'm going to have to rejig the canvas, but I'm already set up to do this illusion, so let's stick to it and see how we go. Now, aside from the canvas wobblies, I start to run into my first major illusion snag, and that is even painting pure white on my canvas isn't as bright as the sky behind. And this is simply because within this shadowy glade, there's not enough light hitting my canvas, so I actually can't compete with the brightness of the sky behind. That's alright, I don't think it'll break the illusion too bad, so I spend most of my effort color matching and focusing on the contrast and textures matching throughout the rest of my painting. But regardless, I switched my focus to trying to bring the past to life, painting Sandy in the middle of this glade, frolicking where they most loved to. Yeah, okay, my Sandy painting was very quickly apparently just not gonna work. Because I was working on top of wet oils, I had to work really thick and wet, and it was a small canvas, so detail was next to impossible, so I cut that journey short pretty quick and just filled it in with grass. Sorry, Sandy. As good as a dog you might have been, I'm not a good enough painter to make this work, especially for my first challenge. I was hoping this would be a bit more of a storytelling exercise in the video where I paint the illusion to transform a place into another place in time. And that might work, but I still have a ways to go to get this down pat. The problem with this setup is the painting is far out enough that any pressure wobbles it and the camera is steady, but the painting is not. So I'm hoping that by swapping it, I thought I had it before, I obviously didn't, but I think I have it now. It feels stable enough that I can actually tap on that fairly firmly, and the only thing wobbling is the camera very slightly. Let's grab a brush. All right, these are the brushes I was using before, and that's perfect. Okay, cool. We're not getting much wobblies at all. Okay, now it's time to set up for our next painting. and the sky is drastically different and no longer overcast. So I'm going to hunt around the grounds and the building to see what the best approach is to make use of this awesome space. This is JAZZA'S mansion, the family home of Lord Haig of the whiskey family of the same name. Well, there he is. There's his portrait. Look at that handsome man. But at the end of the day, the light is too dark to work with to have the canvas lit properly. So I'm heading back outside even though the sky may not be playing nice. So I've set up to do my painting. Problem is, I had pre-prepared my palette assuming I was going to paint more of a building, so I have more sort of browns and greys, but I've pivoted because I can put a dragon on top of my manor, and I have to do that. I have a little bit of red. I think I have enough to pull it off. The other problem is, with a very blue sky and clouds that will be moving pretty fast, I'm going to have to slap that in real quick. So this one's more of a speed challenge than anything. Everything seemed to be going well. The blue was matching, I even had the cloud positioned, and it was just when I got everything perfectly in place ready to paint the dragon that the cloud went, "Stuff you!" and went out of the way. But I was committed, so I just thought I'd shove in a dragon quickly and jump on top and see if I could make the most out of my terrible idea. Obviously that was just denial, and my loving wife came along and confirmed that with her honest feedback.
Why did you do clouds? That's stupid.
Well, okay, this was not my brightest idea. Let's at least see if I can run up to the top and stand next to my terrible dragon on my terrible sky. Hey! Look! A giant dragon! Okay. You think you got a cool new idea, you aggressively learn how wrong that is, but you also have the potential to figure out some cool stuff. So with my lessons learned from my JAZZA'S mansion painting, it's time to really put my skin in the game and spend 7 hours driving in one day to go to Loch Ness and paint a real castle at the real loch. So I set about grabbing my portable art supply setup and portable illusion painting setup to give a real attempt at an authentic and organic looking old castle on the side of the loch. It's about this time when I start my illusion painting that I realise the actual best place to paint this castle, both with lighting for the illusion and positioning to get it all on the canvas, was the main thoroughfare for thousands of people to pass me by. Especially as someone painfully awkward and generally introverted, I have set myself up at a public location for tourists to be something of an attraction. I swear to God, this was not me trying to get attention, but my God does it look like it, and I felt like an idiot. But you know what? I was focused on trying to actually get a great illusion this time. Now with that said, it's not without its challenges. As you can tell, the light does shift a lot. Even though it was generally overcast, the sun is moving through the sky, and I do have to adjust the exposure a couple of times. So I'm playing with fire here a little bit in that I'm leaning on luck and hoping that the tones and contrast that I've picked will end up being closest to what I get when I finish. I have absolutely no way of knowing this will work, but I have to just commit to it and do my best. The loch, the mountains, the sky, and the foreground painted, there was one thing left to do. The thing I couldn't do with poor Sandy. Bring back a piece of the past, the ruins of a castle. But I wanted to use my illusion as the opportunity to bring this castle back to life, where the thoroughfare of tourists would disappear into the picture that I painted capturing the castle, perhaps as it stood and might have looked many hundreds of years ago. And you know what? I actually think it works. Victory, finally! Oh my God. I can't call it quits at just bringing the castle to life. And I had just been to Nessie land, the incredible I don't know if you'd call it a theme park, attraction room? Where the only thing scarier than the plesiosaur rendering of what Nessie might look like is the giant paper mache Nessie in the middle of the room. You know what else isn't normal? My brush pack, because it's extra extraordinary. Go check them out. 83 professional digital brushes compatible with Photoshop, Procreate, and Clip Studio Paint. And they come bundled with my Pro Digital Painter's guidebook so you can learn to digitally paint like a pro. They are absolutely incredible. Check them out, links in the description. Okay, it turns out this exhibition just sort of contemplates all the things that Nessie might be other than Nessie, but I am gonna go on the hunt for Nessie as we know her, the Loch Ness Monster. It was just a matter of finding the prime place to create my very own, much clearer sighting of the monster. I finally found the perfect location, set up and tucked away at painting. I set this one up to be reasonably simple. It's got some challenges in there with the texture of the bricks and the mountains in the background, and of course the sky and the water is always going to be hard to balance, especially if the light moves. But all things considered, this is the most consistent lighting I've ever had doing this illusion. It couldn't have been more perfect. Then it was a matter of going through and adding details and just hoping that the light would hold. The white of the mortar through the bricks, making sure there's enough shadow and variation in the hues. Enough that when I'd finished and then rebalanced the watercolor and was confident enough that the lighting would hold, the perfect situation presented itself. As I was painting Nessie off into the distance, perhaps even the Nessie hunting boat that my wife and children were on looking for the Loch Ness Monster passed right by and behind my creation of the Loch Ness Monster. Little did they know, they actually found her. This has been a bit of an adventure of an art challenge. I really hope you've enjoyed coming over to Scotland with me and giving this art illusion another crack, and I'm pretty happy with the results. But hey, your feedback in the comments of the last video did help me shape this a little bit more and do a little bit better. So let me know in the comments how you think I went. Thank you for watching. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more fun with art and creativity, sometimes all around the world. That's it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later.